Hey, how's it going, guys? Ancient Marine here, back with another Wonderlands build video, and today we finally have the update on Slampage, and it's at Chaos 100. Now, I just want to give a disclaimer: this is using perfect gear that is very hard to farm, so you probably won't be able to do Chaos 100, and bossing still isn't that good. You really only do regular runs, not elite. Still relies a lot on getting shrines. The gameplay you'll see here is doing a boss rush just so you can see mobbing and bossing, but it also gets two of the shield capacity shrines, which are very nice, but you won't always get. You also want trust and magic, which helps. But yeah, it all varies on the run of the damage, if you can elite or not, and your gear. I also play on relaxed now just because it's nicer. We have more damage and not have a damage penalty. I would suggest playing this at Chaos 75, but because people want 100, they love seeing the max number, I'm doing after the max and showing it off. But I do highly suggest doing it at Chaos 75. You still get only Primordial and Ascended, and after that it's just higher rates and a lot more health. But yeah, I played this at Chaos 75 and it was insane to where I definitely did not need perfect gear. So yeah, I will go over some options, but there's not many. But I do hope you guys enjoy this build. This is very, very fun. When it does work. Again, bossing isn't the best, but we don't have to use Sword Solution anymore, which is great, and for swapping. Yeah, I put so much work into this. I put so many changes. Even before Chaos 100 came out, I was working hard on making an update, and then I never did it because I was having some editing problems. But this is a must-have fun build. This is a lot of fun. One of my favorite builds I've made. So yeah, I hope you guys can tell how much I like this. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. The save file will be in the Discord, which will be linked down below. And make sure to like and subscribe if you like this build. Alright, and for the gear here, we have the Fear Not. We go Cryo because it'll help Icebreaker. Now, it won't usually fully freeze enemies, maybe some like lower tier enemies, but this won't freeze, but it will help get that Icebreaker bonus, which doesn't need to be fully frozen. And that's a pure mold of damage, so that just helps more than nothing. We go the Grave Fort enchant for Dark Magic and Dark Magic efficiency. This will be spammed so often it should always be up. And then we go the melee bolts because that's why we're using a Fear Not. For the melee bolts, that'll be applied, and then because we're swinging fast, we don't have to worry about like shooting a Scalalag like I did before. And then it'll also apply for Faithful Thralls and Brutal Stampede. And then after I throw some Fear Nots, I like to switch to a Live Wire and then melee enemies with this because it'll help melee a lot more with the same enchant, so it doesn't matter where we activate our action skill. The Chaos tier doesn't really matter. You could technically use a level 1 Fear Not and a level 1 Live Wire, and it would still do the same, meaning besides Icebreaker bonus, just because these are pure utility and the damage of Live Wire depends on your melee weapon. And so Fear Not, this is mainly for melee bolts and Thrall stacks and Brutal Stampede stacks. So this makes farming a little bit easier, and you don't exactly need the frost bonus, but it does help because then you get better icebreaker uptime. We do still have the enrage, so that'll also be frost bonus, so that'll still be there. But if you do get ×2 frost, that's really nice. And then we got rage handle. Before we used a goblin's pickaxe, but the rage handle can hit higher swing speed, which just makes it really, really good. It is like in mobbing can be slower, but in bossing, where this really matters, it is really good. I use consecutive hits just like last time, and then ancient hits still, but the difference is we don't go dark magic. This is because element matching just ends up being so much more. And before in Chaos 50, I kind of just like the theme of dark magic, using all dark magic, but it doesn't end up being better. I like to use fire as my main one for general mobbing because there's a lot of flesh bars. So that really helps, but there are other options here. You could go any of these elements and be good. And then for bossing, I suggest element matching here. And then here, we still go static charge. I go spellcast melee, but you could also go after skill start melee. It doesn't really matter. It's just I find spellcast being better uptime in bossing, so I prefer that. It is 10% less and less uptime, but we can still keep it up pretty good. And then ideally you probably want fire resistance on the static charge or like shock resistance, but it doesn't really matter. I haven't had too much problems. And then you either want turtle or capacity part. Turtle will do more, but capacity will still work fine. Here we use a harbinger. We go dark magic damage with our sacrifice, and then we go berserker power, and here's why. So Graveform power only boosts the dire sacrifice base damage of 1099 damage. It does not boost the sacrificed health. So this is basically getting nothing. At like 99%, which is most, you'd be getting 2000 base damage. That's nothing. So instead we go berserker power. This will boost enrage damage, which is nice, but it's not really impactful. But mainly it'll boost blast chill, which helps our bossing and just our outside damage in general, which is the main reason why I go berserker. I would go berserker here if I could, but going this Graveform Shorewarden combo is better, and I'll explain later. Then we go shield capacity because that always spawns in a harbinger, and we go all damage because it's damage. You could get some reload speed, which would be nice for throwing Fear Knots, but it's definitely not needed. And then the reason we go harbinger, one, the shield capacity will go through unarmored defense, which then goes to our health, which increases our dire sacrifice damage, but then it also restores our shield, which means our hits will be taken more to our shield than our health. A lot of times I found that my shield was always empty, which did not help trying to get strong dire sacrifice damage. Now with harbinger, I am able to keep my health up a lot easier, so that's a big reason why I go harbinger. Then we go frostburn. Ideally you want a spell charge, and then either cooldown would be optimal, but radius, or if it can roll duration, I think it may be able to, those would be optimal as well, besides like all the other stuff. This is for thralls and stampede stacks. This will spawn 3 hydras, and then it also gets you in, it spawns a sigil, which will protect you from enemy bullets, which is also really nice. And then we go spellcast ability to boost our ability damage. Where these enchants are don't really matter. These are the 2 flexible ones, so any spot they go really doesn't matter. Now, because we don't use, in the old version we used arcane bolt, but this does a lot more damage. It is very noticeable and a lot better. You can't spam it as much, but it's pretty spammable still, which is really nice. And then because we're not using Thurge anymore, we don't need to worry about spamming spells. I don't think I explained why we don't go to Thurge. We have so much from Ancient Hilt and from Blood of the Fallen that Thurge is barely noticeable. We still have constant uptime, so we don't need Thurge at all. I'll go over these rings first. Insight ring, I think, was what we used last time. Ability damage, the crit hit, the non-crit hits you get from this is conditional damage, which is really nice. So that's 30% at max with 2 of these. And so we get plenty of crit hits from Rage Handle from our melee and from Fear Knots. So that'll be plenty of hits. And then we go melee crit damage just because we barely get crit hits from Dire Sacrifice, and getting that chance doesn't help much. So we just go melee crit hit damage, which really helps bossing as well. And then for the armor piece. So this changed a lot. I did a lot of changes from here. So last time was Graveborn Berserker, I think, with Amnesia. So then I changed it to Berserker Graveborn with Amnesia, because 1, we don't need Graveborn power, and 2, the area damage is really, really good because you don't get much of it. You get it from Ancient Fury, and you get it from passive. So that was a really good bonus. And then Selective Amnesia was still really nice. I went area damage, word capacity, and move speed, and then I went to Amalgam. Why? Because the Amnesia isn't doing that much. We already have a lot of all damage between Faithful Thralls, with Frostburn and the Fear Knots. It wasn't doing that much. We had a lot of all damage and not as much other places. And so the Amalgam brought me melee damage and ability damage, which was really, really nice. And then, so this was doing well. And then Chaos 100 came, and I was like, you know what? I should probably try something else. Brutal Stampede, it's a really hard farm. You will probably never get a perfect one. If you get a good Berserker Graveborn, I suggest probably going with that, doing lower Chaos level. Or you get some sort of version of this Brutal Stampede and you do lower Chaos levels. But yeah, this is the ideal Brutal Stampede here. It gives Graveborn power, Sword power. This is because we get Faithful Thralls and Dark Hydras. We go only 2 Hydras because we don't have the Capstone and Graveborn. That makes it very easy for Hydras to spawn. So that's why we go 2 there. And then Faithful Thralls is damage around over like 100%, 180% all damage you can get, like, pretty consistently. It's really nice. And then we go maximum ward capacity, area damage, and then you can either go ability damage, move speed, or melee damage. I go ability damage because it's more for Dire Sacrifice. Move speed's just nice utility. Melee damage helps melee swings. Max ward capacity and area damage are the more important things. And then you have ability damage here, and then the melee damage, which is additive with the melee consec hits, which is melee card boost damage. Before, this was called on swing melee, but we changed it up to be more accurate, because as you can see, you don't need to swing. And so this is just really nice. And so around 10 stacks, you get 69% ability damage, 69% card boost melee damage, which is just really, really nice. And this is definitely optimal. Grave Spore Amalgam could also be really nice. I never mess with that. Even if you get a Selective Amnesia, it'll be better than nothing. But I really hate using Brutal Stampede because it's such a hard farm, but it's just, you have to push so much in Dire Sacrifice that I have to do it. And then in the skill tree, of course, Dire Sacrifice, that's the build. 3 Faithful Thrall for damage. We go Acid Strain for the spell cooldown to spam the Froster and more. We don't go Mortal Vessel because the Dark Magic efficiency and maximum health is so minimum to where it barely adjusts our health, especially because of unarmored defense. If you have unarmored defense, you never want to go max health boost. Always max shield capacity. And then we go Sacred Sacrament, one of the best healing skills in the game. Restores up to 30% health, since it's 2 seconds. when we're spamming our spell, it does it a lot. And then we go the rest in Dark Hydra. That's just really nice for keeping up Hydras. Now we don't go Ascension because we don't need spell damage or maximum health. Now if you found like a Grave Burr armor with like as a paradigm, it could be worth going points in Ascension here, but I'm not going to go into that because that's a whole different thing. And then we don't need Dread Covenant because we like never get to the point where we're going to die, so it doesn't really matter. Then here we overspec Burr. Yielding is really good because it's max health regen in enraged. Then here's Savagery for the melee damage. Instinct is for reloading our Fear Not and then swapping between our Fear Not and Livewire faster. Very good utility. You could also put it in Blood Frenzy if you need the healing, but I found I didn't really need it, so I went the utility. Old Ways for the conditional damage, which helps a lot. Icebreaker, pure multi damage, I explained earlier. Fear Not applies it and also Enrage. Cold Snap for the boost speed, which is nice, but mainly for the frost efficiency here for Icebreaker. Unarmored Defense gives us a bunch of health. You have to take it for any build, especially Dire Sacrifice. And then we go Ancient Fury for the area damage. Max health isn't important here, as I said. Doesn't really do much. Relentless Rage is just an amazing survivability skill. We don't go down much, but if we do, this really helps. Blast Chill for those melee hits, Blast Chill deals ability damage, so all this ability boost we're doing will go into Blast Chill. So that's why melee is the best for this, because our melee hits will trigger Blast Chill, and these fast swinging weapons will trigger Blast Chill often. So you're just adding one boost of melee instead of having to do a bunch of gun damage and then probably sacrifice some ability damage. And so that just helps a lot. And then of course, Blood of the Fallen, get back Dire Sacrifice even faster. Now we don't go Iron Skull because of Rage Handle. If you still went Pickaxe, you probably could put some points in Iron Skull, but even with 1 point, your Rage Handle will break when bossing, so you just have to restart your swinging. And then here we go Clown Blood as our background. You don't need Clown Blood. You could use any background. They're very minimal, but optimal, you'd want to go Clown Blood for the spell cooldown to spam our Sigil more. Now we go max spell cooldown here because of spamming the Frostburn, and then we go max HP and ward for the ward capacity to go and give us more health for more damage. Then we go the rest in crit hit damage. Now we don't go Village Idiot here is because our Dire Sacrifice barely crits, so going these two boost health more. You don't need the skill cooldown and you don't need dot damage. Crit hit damage won't do crit hit chance won't do much, so this crit damage is mainly for our melee attacks. I hope you guys enjoyed this build video. I know the perfect gear kind of seems like this. Don't want to try it as much, but if you want save files, save file will be there. If you don't ever want to bring the gear over and you just want it for Dire Sacrifice, that works. You can just take the save file there. Of course, not everyone's on PC. You can still do this build on lower chaos levels. Just remember that the chaos tiers are just bigger numbers to support higher chaos levels. The loot luck is very appealing, and the higher numbers, but you can play this on any difficulty. Chaos 50 is where you get Ascended, and then it just kind of goes up from there. I would also suggest, if you have a different build that does Chaos 100 easily, farm for gear for this build on that, and then climb Chaos as high as you can. Or just not even 100, just your highest Chaos level, farm it on that to get this gear. Because I have perfect gear here. I save edited it all. I'm not going to say I didn't. But I don't really like farming this game, especially for niche builds like this. But I still hope you guys enjoyed this build. I hope you guys try it. Save file will be in the Discord, and make sure to like and subscribe. Peace.